Today we're going over comparing and ordering real numbers. This is some review from previous grades. First, your numbers must be in the same format before ordering. We're going to change all numbers to decimals and then fractions. We will use those to order the original numbers. And when we first convert the decimals, we want to make sure they have an equal number of digits after the decimal. And we look at the whole number first. We call this being fair to compare. Okay, here's some examples. We have 1/10, 1/4, 3 1/10, and 33%. Okay, so 1/10 I'm going to leave alone as 0.1. 1/4 is 0.25. We have 3.1 and 33%. Move that back 2 places is 0 and 33 hundredths. Now, if you'll notice, so a couple of these have 2 digits after the decimal, whereas others only have 1. So I'm going to be adding in my 0 placeholders on those. Okay. Looking at the whole numbers, we only have one that's bigger than 0, which is at 3.10. So I'm going to put all of these in order from least to greatest on this slide. So that would be my last one. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and put it down here. All right. Actually, let me move that down just a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to put these into fraction format, the ones that are left. So I have 10 hundredths, so it's 10 over 100. 25 hundredths is 25 over 100. And then I have 33 hundredths. When I do this, I can just look at the top numbers and it's easier to compare. Okay, so my smallest number is this 10 hundredths, which was the 1/10. Then it was the 25 hundredths, which is that 1/4. And then our 33 hundredths, which was the 33%. And then we already said that that 3.1 was our biggest. Okay, let's look at this. 50%. Move it back 2 places. So 0.50. 5/8 is one of those common ones. It's 625 thousandths. We have 7/10. 1/9 is the ones repeating. And 3.2 times 10 to the negative 2 power. Move that decimal back 2 places. Okay, so I have 3 digits after my decimal are my biggest ones. I'm going to move over and put these 0 placeholders in there. Now I can convert them to fractions. So I have 500 thousandths, 625 thousandths, 700 thousandths, 111 thousandths, and 32 thousandths. I want to put these in order from least to greatest. Okay, and I'm ordering the original numbers. So my smallest is this 32 thousandths, which was at 3.2 times 10 to the negative 2 power. Okay, my next smallest is this 111 thousandths, which was the 1/9. Then was my 500 thousandths, which was that 15%. Then my 625 thousandths, and that was the 5/8. And then my last one was the 7/10. Okay, let's look at this last one. We have 150%. It's understood that the decimal is here at the end. Move that back 2 places. I'm going to have 1 1/2. Here I have 1 7/10. Here I have 0.5 0.01, that's 1/100th. And then 8/3. We make that into a mixed number. That will be 2 2/3. Or 2.6 repeating. Okay. So looking at the whole numbers first, my smallest one here is that 1/100th. Okay, then I'm over to this 1.5 and 1.7. So that's 1 5/10 and 1 7/10. 5 is smaller than 7, so that is next. Then 1.7. Then the 8/3. Okay, on this slide, I'm going to be going from greatest to least. I'm just going to put G to L up here for some abbreviation. Okay, this first problem, we have 65 3/4, 65 7/8, and 65 1/2. All of our whole numbers are the same, so I'm just going to focus on those fractions. So 3/4 is 75 hundredths. 7/8 is 875 thousandths, and 1/2 is 5/10. Okay, we have 3 digits after the decimal on one of these, so they all need to be because it's our biggest. So we'll add in those 0 placeholders. So we have 750 over 1,000, 875 over 1,000, and 500 over 1,000. So going greatest to least, my biggest is this 875 thousandths. So that was 65 7/8. My next is the 750 thousandths. So that was 65 3/4. And then I have my 65 1/2. Okay, looking at this next one, we have 11 hundredths. 1/3 is the 0.3 repeating. Then we have 0.3, and then 65%, move that decimal back 2 places, is 65 hundredths. We have 2 digits after our decimal, so I need to add in a 0 placeholder here on my 0.3. So I have 11 over 100, 33 over 100, 30 over 100, and 65 over 100. Okay, my biggest is that 65 hundredths, so that was my 65%. Okay, then it was my 1/3, this 33 hundredths. Then my 3/10, and then my 11 hundredths. Okay, scientific notation. Again, want this to be fair to compare, so we're going to put a 0 after this 9 right here, so that all of these have 3 digits after the decimal. Looking at your exponents, we have an 8, an 8, and a 9. Okay, since all of these have the same number of digits, this is going to be your biggest. Okay, and then, so I'll write that down. 2.19 times 10 to the 9th. Then we can look at these two. These exponents are the same, so we can just look at the numbers, okay? We have 2 19 thousandths, or 2 184 thousandths, okay? 2 184 thousandths is bigger, so that'll be my next one. And then last will be the 2 19 thousandths times 10 to the 8th power. Okay, then last one down here. Let's get this up just a little bit. 3.5 times 10 to the 2nd power I have to move my decimal 2 places to the right. So that'll be 350. 53%, percent to decimal, that goes back to the left. So I have 53 hundredths. Here I have 35 hundredths, and 3/5 is 6/10. I need to have 2 digits after my decimal, so that will be 61 hundredths. Okay, 350 is the only one above 0, so it will be my biggest. Remember, I'm going greatest to least. Okay. Then 53 hundredths. We have 35 hundredths. And we have 60 hundredths. So my next biggest is that 60 hundredths, which was 3/5. Then my next one is 53 hundredths, which was the 53%. And then I have that 35 hundredths, which was 0.35. If you have any questions, please let me know.